I don't want to rotate the device to back. I just... Oh my god. All right. Let's see. Do I have sound? Why did it do this now? Ah! Yeah, it's saying the orientation on the camera is locked and it won't let me change it. How do I fix this? It's telling it's trying to force me to rotate the phone the other way. God, this pisses me off. All right. Are you still going to be sideways? God, I hate doing this kind of camera work. Yeah, it wasn't the app, it was the phone call that decided to come through. Let me try something here. There, it fixed it. Okay. I don't like to do this in this camera angle, but it is what it is. I actually need to get just a webcam, but the problem is that Troy needs his computer first. His laptop, he can't even play pretty much anything anymore. Minecraft won't run. It's just anything updated, and his laptop can't handle it. So now we got to try and get him a computer. So for after the stream, I'll put my PayPal up in case anybody decides they want to help me out there. Stay. Okay. Yeah, it's just so much stuff to do. Still got to repair the brakes on my other car because the muffler, of course, had to go at the same time that the brakes did, and both of those were not covered under the warranty. So that had gone kaput. Although it looks like the one car we've got is going to be sold as soon as it's paid off next month. And we can't afford the repairs on that thing either. Again, brakes and suspension, everything, you know, it all has to go at one time. That's just the nature of it. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going with this here. Not really sure on him. A little bit of shading there. Trying not to get the same structure every dragon, you know. Well, let's see. Yeah, new computer, cars. Cars are a money pit. I'm lucky with the car that I have because the only two things that are, well, few things I should say, that are not under the warranty that the car has until the year 2091 or I'm dead, are belts, tires, brakes, and the muffler. Suspension's covered, everything else is covered, and that's manufacturer's warranty. That's not, I got that from Daimler Chrysler directly. It's not a second-hand warranty or anything. So I have a lot covered on the car, so I'm not getting rid of it. Of course, Dodge keeps trying to buy the car back. I get offers all the time on it, and it's like, no, that's just, no, I'm keeping it, sorry. Oh, come on, give me a good color here. I'm running into color problems here. Starting to have issues with being able to see. Darn lighting is just weird today. And the cat's still trying to break in through the door. My doofy cat. Yeah, this is going to require some more work and highlights here, I fear. So anyway, my car is definitely worth keeping, and it's less of a money pit than other cars, but boy, this year it's decided it was going to be the biggest money pit it could. Just for fun. Let me get the background on that first, and then I'll go back to that one. I have less energy than I thought I was going to have today. Feeling slightly tanked, but I'm working 6 days a week, so I've been feeling tanked more often than not. Yeah, and Gardner says her husband gets offers from Dodge on his truck, but it has a lot of issues. Oh yeah, I worked with a lady from Germany that she doesn't understand health insurance in America because she doesn't get why it is that we pay the premium and then we have to pay co-pays and we have to pay all this other stuff on top of it. And she's like, this just doesn't make any sense. All this does is get people set up for failure in the United States. And she's right, you know. And I'm very lucky right now because hubby is getting his treatments and medications and stuff for the MS from the University of Minnesota under a research grant, a research study. So that's helping a lot right there. But if we didn't have that right now, I don't know what we'd be doing. And I'm still dreading the idea that, you know, he's going to end up on stronger medications at some point and not be able to work. And so we have another $600 worth of bills to take care of this year and get them gone before anything else. Then it'll be my medical bills and student loans left and the IRS, you know. I got nailed pretty hard with taxes. It was not pretty. And that's going to be kind of a constant thing, I think, until I can get my income actually lower than it is. And some of it got so behind because I was paying $1,500 a month child support for a really long time. As I said in a previous video, I had an ex who kind of refused to do any work. And Duluth treated him like he was the housewife because he was home and I was working 2 and 3 jobs just to, you know, so that we could keep the house and all of that stuff. And even when he was receiving $1,500 a month child support, he still ended up losing his family farm on top of it. So yeah, things come around, but it set me behind too. So I made sure I worked and I made sure I paid it. And I still had the kids 50-50 too. It was shared custody. So it just made for no end of getting me behind on everything. So it's still playing catch up. Let's see. Everything to do with medical is for profit. You're not responsible for being alive. Healthcare for a healthy society, physically and mentally, needs to be a right, not for profit. I agree there. Gardner says she had to go to the Mayo for open heart surgery twice, and even after the insurance paid $500,000, we still have 10,000s in overhead. Yeah. Found out I had hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy at the age of 56. And isn't that nice that I can roll that off the tongue? Had a little outflow of blood from my thick heart, but they saved my life so I can pay my bills. Yeah. Well, that's what that's for. Paranor says he narrowly escaped open heart, but he wouldn't have to pay a dime if he had to. Oh, hi, Gordo. Hi, Brian. Still kind of trying to figure out what I'm doing with this little guy here. He's coming along. It's going to probably take more than one stream. And hopefully we won't have any more phone calls. Trying to figure out where I'm going with this guy. And the other dragon catches onto my hair, the one that I'm wearing on my wrist. Oscar, stop it! What color do I want to work with for the belly there? I suppose I'm going to be dealing with more yellows. Here we go. There we go. Now I'm feeling a little better about him. It's hard doing these freehand without any sort of plan sometimes. He's going to get a little white highlight in his eye, too. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, yeah, to have specialty surgery in only certain hospitals. Yeah, Oscar is a cat. He's my polydactyl. His name is Oscar Six Toes. And he's very spoiled. Yes, the other one's Mina. That's my other asshole that runs around the place. Okay, later, Brian. Hi, Tyler. I'm still trying to go. I'm feeling a little bit run down, so we're gonna see how long I go here. I had plenty of sleep, but I was outside in the heat, and I haven't handled it too well afterward. Now, where's this? Okay, that wing is that way. Let's see where I go with this wing. There's the claw. All right. Okay, the claw's that way, so it would have been like this. Okay, that was an extra line then. Okay. I'll give myself some guidelines so I can see where I'm going. I'm really sorry you guys are getting... this is really hard to figure out what I'm doing with this phone. There we go. It's amazing what a $9 rubber stand from Amazon will do. I want to get back into streaming Minecraft too, but it's just right now to have the time. I've been neglecting my channel because there's other things I gotta do, you know. That's life. I probably lost the whole first half of this video too, I'm thinking. the app does not like iPhones. Let's see. Here we go. I like having the background music this time though. It's kind of nice. If you can't handle the heat strip, yeah, I wish. Could cause problems in public. Yeah, I don't think nudity is allowed in my area. Yeah, the YouTube app doesn't like mobile at all. Okay, so there's the wing where it's going this way, so now I need to do... That's green. I need black over here just to kind of... I do have to make better outlines for myself. This is just the way it is. Here we go. I kind of set myself up for failure by not going with the black afterward to see what I was doing. But now that I have a lot of this outline figured out, I'm not worried about wrecking the integrity of the color of this rock. So it's not going to be as big of an issue. Blend that out a little bit. Okay. Now... his body's running this way. There's the wing kind of behind him. That's body there. Where's this other wing going? I'm probably going to end up changing things out, I'm sure. That wing will be going this way. So we curl around here. And some of the shadow in here too, I'm still going to have scales, small details of scales. So it does look like he's curled in more on himself. But yeah, it's definitely going to help me if I get the shadows in here. I can at least see what I'm doing. I'm more tired than I thought I was. Here we go. All right. That was the other wing over here. So his body's going to curl back around this way, I think. A little bit more black. That's blue. I think these Bella paints, if I remember correctly, I might have gotten them from Target. I don't remember. And they're actually really good paint. Okay, so he's going to go around this way. Tail's going to curve underneath the... Well, the claws are kind of hiding over here. So let's do that. Still making outlines for myself. And there's going to be all those hidden shadows underneath with scales. All right. Actually, that's not a Lazy Susan. That is the rock itself. It's so perfectly round, Gardner, that it just... The thing just rotates. I love it. I have a feeling I'm going to be playing with this dragon rock a lot. It's awesome. I love this rock. I got it from the neighbor. She was getting rid of a bunch of stuff, and they had this rock, and it's like, it's a beautiful rock. It's wonderful. And it's got such fun motion to it. Okay, so let's put shadow in here. It does act like a Lazy Susan, though. It's awesome. I found in my yard, I found this white chalky type rock. I mean, it doesn't, it doesn't fall apart like chalk. But it's just the small white one. Let's see, where did it go? Thought I brought it in here. Maybe I didn't. But no, I didn't bring it in here. But it's about like, it could fit if I got my fingers like that. And it's just all white, and I can't wait to try and paint on it. I think it's going to be fun. All right, let's throw a shadow down by this edge of the wing so I can see where it is. See where my lines are. There we go. Okay. Now what have I got over here? That's more wing this way. And this is where some of the fun comes in, because when you're doing dragons on a rock like this, you just start playing with where the forms are hiding. And it just makes it so much fun. Okay, so the body's that way. There's going to be more body under here, but I need shadow. Because the wing is going that direction. The other wing. My big obsession lately, I've been watching a lot of videos on making dolls and repainting like Monster High dolls and things like that. There's some amazing artists out there. This one gal is doing the dolls out of polymer clay from scratch, and they're just so beautiful. And YouTube keeps censoring her videos because she does them as nudes. Don't worry, Gardner. I'm gonna be 51 this year, so yeah, spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round, round. Dragon's gonna get dizzy. Vomit flames. Oh, that would have been cool to find a spearhead. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm getting sick of the NRA and all that crap. And I am a gun owner. I have a gun. It's not fireable in any way. Yeah, I forgot what this artist's name is. She's an Asian artist, and she does such gorgeous sculptures of these dolls, and she has to put little graphical things over nipples and stuff like that because YouTube keeps people. What happens is people are reporting her videos for a nudity on a sculpture. So she finally just decided to go and start editing in after the video, you know, to put little stars over the nipple or something. I mean, it's like people are just absolutely dumb. You know, it's an art doll. It's not porn. She's sitting there sculpting it from scratch, you know, and you're watching the sculpting process, and they have fits over the nudity on the sculpting process. That's like, seriously. That is just absolutely crazy. And screwed up. Alright, so what are we going to do? We need to figure out your forms here, dude. He is looking pretty cool, though. Well, let's do this wing underneath first. I'll figure out the colors here. But yeah, I have a bunch of Monster High dolls and stuff, and I've had to put things on hold a lot because of work. But like, I've got the My Little Ponies here. I'm going to be redoing some of those, and I've redone Breyer horses and stuff to look like people's real horses. And I love doing that. That's a lot of fun. But it's also very, very time consuming. And right now, like, I used to have a little bit more light at work on the one case that I work with than I do now. And that's because I'm in the room next to this sleeping kid, and, you know, if he wakes up, it's seizure time. If he wakes up too early, so I have to have the lights very much down. So what I've been doing is I'll bring, like, hemp with or something quiet that I can braid and use under this dinky little lamp. But, you know, I used to be able to bring needle felting and stuff like that, and, you know, it is what it is. It's stuff to keep me awake at night, but I don't get as much accomplished for the art business as I used to, which is okay because I'm supposed to be there to take care of the kid anyway. But a lot of home care nurses, you know, we bring crafts with to stay awake. Because I've seen the worst things happen to patients when a nurse did not stay awake. Thank the goddess it was not me that fell asleep. Yeah, I've seen the worst happen. Home care is an interesting beast. It used to be when I was in school that home care was just go in and change dressings. And that was it. And still you'll run into nurses who think that it's not real nursing, and it's like, yeah, it is, because you're the only one there. If something happens with your patient, they're relying on you. You know, you're their lifeline. And I have brought somebody back, you know, they died on me. and I was able to bring them back and get them to the ER and everything else. But it was like, I was the one that was there, you know, and it does make it challenging, but you also have to be able to be awake enough to do your job. And yeah, another nurse fell asleep after I left. She went in another room and laid down, actually, which we did not know she was doing at night. Needless to say, she lost her license and everything because the guy died. Oh, let's see. What color? What color? What color? The fact that I can still sing after saying that. Yeah. Yeah, NRA is not gun owners. It's a fanatical group. Yeah, and it's basically the gun manufacturers and sellers that are making the bang off of the NRA. They're not, and they've got gun owners fooled. Which is really sad. The gun I have is actually the one that my mother, in the 60s, after she had come into this country, was using to shoot rabbits for food off of the back of a horse. She'd go riding the horse down the road and, drop the reins and shoot rabbits. That's where the food came from. My mother wanted to be the cowboy, so to speak, and that's it. She lived a full life of being a cowboy. The real thing. And a nurse. She retired at 76 from being a nurse in a nursing home. And so she's doing her own thing now, Her and I've had a lot of issues over the years, but I still admire her because she'd been through a lot and she's accomplished a lot. Pretty amazing person. So despite stuff that's happened, she's still kind of one of my heroes. Yeah, let's see, Tyler's saying about somebody with... Oh, yeah, it's not the person that was doing the sculptures. I think it's Tia or something, that's doing them on YouTube. They're just, doll-sized. Let's see. And Paranor says that there's a snobbish sense of superiority in every group. Gotta call it out when it happens. Home care is health care. Yes, it is. Gardner says, my last nursing job was a left hyperplastic baby. I worked nights back then 7 years ago and did my homework. He was on a vent in a G-tube. Yeah, that's what I do, is the vents. I say life support, because if that machine's not working right, that kid is not alive. It's critical care is what it is. We're just in a less intense setting than ICU. Yeah, NRA had a hostile takeover in the 70s by fanatics. Oh, yeah, I've got one kid like that. Was a heart transplant, and she's out of state now, and, in regular school, no trach, no vent, no anything like that anymore. That is just the coolest thing when we lose kids because they don't need us anymore, I'd much rather have that than losing them for other means. We do get those success stories, and they make it worth it. Oh, I had one that was 84. She did everyone's IVs and had a pet rat. Yeah, the neat thing about home care is that these kids, they get to live at home with their families. They're on life support full time, so there's no way around it. It's either they'd be living in the hospital or living at home. And the problem with living at the hospital is like the cost is 4 times as much. And that's just financially. And so I'm a big proponent for home care because it makes a huge difference in people's lives, both money wise and the fact that they are with family. I got to meet the doctor that started it all back in the 70s. The one company I used to work for, they had him come in to do a lecture about home care, and I felt so privileged because this man changed so many lives. This one single man, by making the decision, hey, we've got this kid, their ribs are too small. The rib cage is too small. They can't expand their lungs and the machine has to do it for them. Why can't we send them home with the respirator? That's how it all began. I think in 72, if I remember correctly. And that is just so incredible to me. And we don't have enough nurses in home care. And we really need more, but the money is not as much, You have the added benefit of just one patient, but it's not as high in paying. I mean, I was making $45 an hour in the hospital in dialysis, in acutes. But, home care is an awful lot less on the money wise, even though we're saving a lot of money for the state. But, yeah, it's such a big thing, and they're trying to cut funding for it more. I mean, all the time. It's like, where do you stop the greed and worry about the patient's health, because there are a lot of patients who are able to recover. It's just money. Yeah, some days. Oh, I'm liking where this is going. This is working out pretty good. Yeah, and the oldest nurse I worked with, Gardner, was I think she was 94, and she was a nun, and she still took care of kids on the life support in home. And she was just absolutely amazing and extremely famous with all the home care companies. Yeah, Gordo says it's the same way over there with the pay, that it's not as good as hospital nurse. But anyway, this lady, she passed away eventually, but she was just famous. Everybody knew her because she was a nun. She took all of her money that she'd earned, and she was running a homeless shelter for inner city youth, for the younger men, like 17-year-olds and stuff like that. The ones that got into trouble with having kids and at that age and stuff like that. And she'd help, get them daycare, get them back to school, things like that. This lady was just incredible. And I got to train her in on a case one night, and she was telling me that I was incredible, and it's like, oh my God, I'm hearing that from you. She's like one of my nursing idols. you run into where you get these legends, you know, and it's just, sometimes that's pretty freaking amazing. Trying to develop some depth here. Okay. Nowhere near done, of course. Yeah, I've been privileged to meet some really incredible people in my life. And to have some incredible people in my life. My son with his partial paralysis in his right arm, and he just did his first cross-country flight at night, flying a plane, because he's at North Dakota State University for aerospace. Yeah, we're all just mere peasants. Well, I'm kind of not really, but there's an interesting story behind that some of it I can't get into, but yeah, somewhat I'm not. And no, I'm not trying to be Von Helton either. But I'm also 50 and a child of direct immigrants from Germany, and you know, there were things that were going on, and yeah. I'm getting just the right amount of highlight in here. And I don't want to copy the same bone structure as a horse. So I have to make sure I get the bone structure absolutely different here. This ear is going to be a challenge to figure this out. Oops, a little too much white. Oh well. Oh dear. That just occurred to me. I need to make sure that this is actually royalty-free instrumental here. Maybe not. Crud. Okay. We're gonna... Shoot. Now this one I know was because it's been on other videos, but I want to find something different. Okay. G-Man atheist nurses are fantastic. Well, all nurses. Yes, we are. I don't understand that. I don't, and I'm trying to get through to G-Man that, you know, you guys, they can hold their beliefs if they want. That's fine, but have a little bit. I've put the video up. Have a little bit of tact when dealing with people, and don't make just accusations, you know. And that's where people had gotten angry about the whole Jade thing, and Shani did the same thing to me, unfortunately. Basically accusing me of uh, cheating on my husband because of my sexual orientation. And it's like, I was so incredibly insulted and hurt by that. And so that's why I did the video I did, but you know, it's it's haranguing her and stuff like that. Well, they're gonna have to come to their own realizations someday, I think. School of Hard Knocks. Okay, come on, Horn. But they seem to, both of them seem to think that it's, people are mad that they're attacking, they're going after gays and lesbians and stuff. And I mean, I understand there's sects of Christianity that feel that way, and it's going to be a long time before they change their opinions. But don't sit there and just make accusations that somebody's doing something when they're not, you know. And then dragging Jade's name through the mud all over YouTube when it wasn't their business. G-Man, it was, he wanted to make an example of somebody. And Jade was an easy target. And he doesn't seem to understand that you just can't do that, you know. People aren't going to listen to you if you're just randomly attacking. I mean, that's where Von Helton got in trouble. Yeah, yeah. They're shot. You might be right, Paranor, that they're doing it for their own schadenfreude. I doubt he censored the medics. Yeah, he went after Jade big time, Paranor. He just tried to run her through the mud. And Jade is an absolute sweetheart, and she's so intelligent and so educated, and oh yeah. I kind of wish that, you know, they would take on more like Holly Baglio does. I mean, yeah, she's got her issues. I don't believe in SRA, and, you know, although I've had patients that had claimed that when I worked in psych back in the 90s. But, you know, she says a lot of things that it's just no way that they're any way, shape, or form true. But she's a kind person, you know, and that does so much more, being kind. It just, you know, people will actually stop and listen at that point, you know. And me, religious-wise, I'm, you know, I sit there and I'll watch pretty much anything. I'll listen to pretty much anything, but I'm independent. I'm on my own. Even drifting away from Wicca in a lot of respects. Just being myself and considering myself a child of this earth and a child of this universe, since we're all star stuff. And more independent on my path, but that doesn't mean that I don't like to talk to people from other religious groups and all of that, and that I don't understand where they're coming from, because I do. And people fascinate me. How religion affects culture and culture affects religion. That always fascinated me when I was, I was trying to study anthropology in high school. Because that's what just fascinated me, was how all of that interconnected. And I'm still that way. And I love people, but don't sit there and make up lies about me, So that's what it is. Yeah, drama. I like that drama Olympics. Yeah, but isn't that when, if I remember correctly, because I worked the locked unit at the psych hospital, which was borderline personality, a lot of them. And isn't that kind of when that starts to manifest? Because I know bipolar does. It starts in the teens. So they start really showing a lot of behaviors like that at that point. Yeah, he's going to take a couple streams here. This little guy's kind of taking a while, which is okay. Let's get some green in your horn there. There we go. I'm really liking him. He's getting kind of cute. Let's see. What do we want to do with you, buddy? Yes, I talked to all my dragons. I didn't get to see the petroglyphs when I was up there. Yeah. You can be an asshole, just don't be a dick. I like that. Yeah, BPD is developed early on. We usually kickstarts in the teen years because of brain chemicals and puberty. Thank you, Gordo. Oh, yeah, I want to go too. I'm going to have to tell my husband about that. We're going to have to go see those petroglyphs. I know we went to Cahokia. And oh my God, that was so incredible. And then I forgot the other one that, Aztalan was this one we visited a couple years ago. And that was just amazing too. And that actually for me was very much a spiritual experience on top of it. I got the video someplace on my channel here, but Cahokia was just to be able to walk up the mounds where the settlement used to be, and oh man, that was incredible. And then I fell by the car and tore open my knee and almost broke my wrist. And yeah, Gardner, you would find that funny if I told you the whole tale on that one. You would just find that one really amusing. My doctor said he would have done the same thing though. People witnessed me fall, and some came to help, and at some point somebody must have called the ambulance. And this was the first day of my honeymoon that I did this. And so, I climbed Monk's Mound and I did all this and then fell beside the car. And so here, because we had to switch cars because the car we were going to take on our road trip ended up dying on the Renaissance Festival grounds right after the wedding. So we had to take my car, which was a lot smaller. So my husband goes, and I have this box full of like my gloves and the ambu bag and all of that stuff. And so I didn't know he took it out. And I had bandages in there and stuff. So I go, oh yeah, just grab it out of the box. The box is at home. So I had this crappy piece of fabric which doesn't absorb anything. It was just this cheap lining satin. I don't know why it was still in the car. But wrapped my knee in that, and then once I was able to stand, we went and drove down to the Walmart so I could get bandages and get a splint for my hand so that we could keep going on our honeymoon. So we're leaving the Cahokia grounds, and here comes an ambulance the other direction, heading towards the Cahokia grounds. So we know somebody called, but that out of state like that, that would have been so expensive. Holy cow. And my doctor's like, yeah, I would have done the same thing. Luckily, I didn't break my wrist, but now next week I'm going in because I'm getting to the point I can't grip anymore. The pain's shooting all the way up to my elbow, and I think I did some more damage to it. That, and I have the torn rotator cuff, but yeah, it was just, that was hilarious though. And the kind of fracture that my doctor suspected I had wouldn't have shown up for 2 weeks on an x-ray anyway. But luckily it didn't happen. He's getting kind of greenish scales here. I'm liking this. But yeah, first day of the honeymoon. And then the next day we were in Mammoth Cave doing the 7-mile hike. So I'm doing that with my knee torn up, and I was 25 pounds heavier, so I wasn't breathing very good, and yeah. Paranor, so you started the BDSM before you got to the honeymoon location? Oh my god. Yeah, nothing wrong with green at all. Yeah, that was... the funny thing is that my sister-in-law is one who, she has reactive airway disease, and most kids don't survive with reactive airway disease very much past 10 years old, but she's in her 30s now, and she's got other respiratory issues that go on. But it's like every vacation she's got to end up in the hospital for something. So my husband's like, will you stop trying to compete with her? So I have to admit, on the first day of the honeymoon, that was pretty spectacular. That was just... Still managed to go to the honeymoon, and then the next day after that, we went sluice mining in Kentucky in the mountains. Fell in love with the Smoky Mountains. Oh my gosh. We're definitely going to be going back. But the icy cold mountain river stream water, oh, going through the sluice mine like that, and I had my hands in it, that made my arm feel so much better. You can't imagine. And so here I am completely covered in mud. It's just all this reddish mud. And we got quite a bit of rocks and found pottery shards and all sorts of stuff. And so here I go to Abington Green in North Carolina, in Asheville. And it's near the Biltmore Estate. And it was actually made and was the residence of the architect who designed the Biltmore. So we're talking very, very fancy bed and breakfast. Very expensive. We got there. I was afraid to sit on the chairs for meet and greet with the other guests because I was covered in mud from head to toe. I got messier than the kids that were at the sluice mine. It was funny. I'm telling the owner of Abington Green, I don't want to sit on the furniture. I'm just a mess, and they're like, oh, no big deal. But it's all this hand needleworked chairs and everything else. It was just, I was so afraid to wreck things. We stayed for a few days, and it was just a beautiful experience. And I was sitting out on the porch painting and stuff like that, and it was just they we were all crying when we left, including the owners of the green, because they didn't want us, they didn't quite want us to go. So it was pretty amazing. Then we eventually had managed to get to New York, and got lost on the subway and ended up at the 9/11 memorial. Oh my gosh, that is an experience in three quarters. Um, they have the stairs, the concrete stairs that were outside the building when everything went down. And the way they set up on the inside, and you are allowed to have cameras and stuff, but it feels like a shrine. And it feels like you're in some ancient temple, the way they did this whole thing. And those stairs, it was like going up these ancient stairs to meet the gods. I mean, it was an incredible experience, and kind of terrifying, and all of that all at once. And then we had an appointment to go to, we had scheduled time to go and eat at Tavern on the Green, which we're like, hey, it's our honeymoon, we got to do this. So, $100 bottle of champagne and all of this stuff. Except I'm in layers of silk. And it started to storm. It poured buckets in New York. And so here I am in layers of silk, sopping wet. And we got to Tavern on the Green and absolutely soaked to the gills. And we were there an hour early. And they let us come in, and we got to sit and, start our meal early and everything. Earlier than we were had our reservation for. And the thing was is that I felt embarrassed there too, because their chairs are fancy, and I'm like, what is this thing with these fancy chairs and me either being a muddy mess or completely soaked? And that poor chair was just drenched, and it had looked like I must have peed it or something. It was just that bad. The rain was coming down, the umbrellas didn't even help. I mean, it was that bad. And here I'm in this extremely fancy schmancy restaurant, and I'm a mess. And it still was really fun. We got so plastered on that $100 bottle of champagne, we downed the whole thing. We were drunk as skunks. And they went and we got a cab, and because we stayed at this crappy hotel in New Jersey because it was cheaper, and it's the Holland Hotel, so it's right off the Holland Tunnel. And so we had the Tavern on the Green, they got a cab for us to be able to go back, because we had taken the subways all day. And we had no idea. We were so drunk, we didn't quite really know where we were in New York. So we're trying to direct the cabbie, who isn't used to driving too much in New Jersey. And the phones are dying, and we're using our app because the cabbie's phone was dead. So we're trying to direct this guy, and we're both plastered. It was like the best time, but oh my God, don't ever go to the Holland Hotel. It's like a drug rehab boarding house or something. I mean, it was scummy. Oh my God. Yes, I do love you, Paranor. You're awesome. Oh, jeez. Gardner says that they drove down to Key West, Florida on their honeymoon from upstate New York, where they grew up, blew all 4 tires one at a time throughout the trip back north. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't regret the honeymoon. We were 2.5 weeks in the car. We blew out our shoes. We had done so much walking that our shoes were just gone. That was it. It was pretty cool though. Wouldn't change it for the world. Maybe the car issue, but I kept telling my husband too, he was really upset because the suspension had gone on the car and we had just had it worked on. And so he was really, really upset about it. And I'm like, well, you know, we drove through Illinois in the dark. And to get to, you know, and through Iowa in the dark, I should say, to get to Illinois. That car could have gone while we were out in the middle of nowhere. And as I told my husband, I said, I think this actually was kind of a blessing in a way that it went at the wedding instead of where we're out where nobody would be able to help us, because we didn't know where we were going to get gas. We just kept driving and driving and driving. And there was no end to the road in the darkness. It just kept going. And it's like, oh my God, we're running lower on gas. We're running lower on gas, you know. And so had that car done that out there? Because the suspension, they forgot to tighten some bolts at Tires Plus, so the suspension just kind of dropped. We would have been so screwed. So it all worked out the way it was supposed to. He's coming along. I'm having just fun just trying to... I'm faking his scales. Again, like I did with the other dragon for Vincent. Just using the texture of the brush to create the scales. And once this guy's glazed over... If I still had the dragon for Vincent here, I'd show you guys, because the glaze I use just makes the colors just pop so much. A gold dragon today. Four funerals and a wedding? Yeah, in the middle of nowhere, still somewhere. It was an adventure. That's the thing. Hubby and I are still... We're still happy with how all of that went, because we had the best adventure, and we took out a big loan to do it, and that's one of the things that's going to be paid off in December, finally. But it's like, this was an experience we didn't expect that we'd have. And we wanted to do this, and it was amazing. It was so worth going broke over. Seriously. It was... it was once in a lifetime type thing, and everybody thought that by the end of the 2 weeks we'd have killed 2.5 weeks we'd have killed each other, because we're in this little car together for that long a time. Oh no. It was really exciting and so worth the experience. And things like Mammoth Cave were just beautiful. Then we went to the Intrepid and got to see the planes. And this whole thing, Mammoth Cave was a challenge in fear of heights for me. I'm terrified of heights. And So I went and I did that. And then we go and we see the Intrepid when we're in Virginia. And all the elevators, they decided to shut down the elevators on the aircraft carrier that day, or on the battleship, whatever. I don't know things like my husband does. I apologize. Slap me. Anyway, they shut down the elevators on everything aboard the whole ship. So he goes on this one deck where his grandpa used to serve. And I wasn't going to do that myself because it was, it was down this dinky little ladder way high up on this thing. But I had to go. Part of it is they had the shuttle, the space shuttle, on the deck. In its own building on the deck of this thing. And then all these airplanes out there and everything else. And I wanted to go see this. I love planes. I don't know a thing about them, but I love planes. I don't know if it's the artist in me that they're like modern day dragons or what it is, but I just love planes. I think they're beautiful. And maybe it helps that my uncle was a Marine pilot. You know, that might be part of it too. But I wanted to go see this, and hubby told me that the shuttle was up there, and I'm like, I have to go see this. And so I climbed this dinky little ladder, and there was a guy. Hubby went up first and then was trying to guide me from the top, and there was this guy behind me, and I was shaking so bad and crying, and the tears were just rolling down. I was utterly terrified, and this guy's trying to coax me gently, and my husband is, and I fought terror of heights and went up there and got to see the space shuttle. And my husband says he still feels bad that, this whole trip was kind of battling a fear of heights for me, but I had the coolest experiences that I would have never had if I hadn't tried. It was just, you're right, the whole thing was an adventure. It was incredible and amazing, and I mean, there's some things that we want to go back and see more of and stuff, but I know I'm never going to have that kind of experience again, that same way. I wanted to learn to pilot a plane, but the terror of heights was kind of an issue. It was pretty bad. That was an issue. Oh, he is coming out neat. Let's figure out his legs. And then I think we're probably going to maybe call it after that. Although the legs are going to be a bit too yet. We'll have the top part of him pretty much done today. Yeah, that honeymoon, though, was one of the best experiences of my life. And the Renaissance Festival wedding was like the best day ever. The whole thing was just... The only thing we would have changed is that we forgot the speakers that were going to hook up to my iPhone to have the bass piano music for the musicians, which was my son and his violin teacher, and then my best friend and her daughter were singing. So because we forgot the speaker, which was the only thing we forgot, which, every wedding there's something that makes it a disaster happen. But the only thing we forgot was this stupid speaker. So the singers were off key and off kilter from the violinists, and really that was the only thing. And it was just, all of it was such a fun experience. And yeah, we are constantly recommending people, you know, if they're asking about where we got married and all of this, and we're like, oh, Renaissance Festival, baby, because they handle the food. You're out having a great time. You don't have to hold a reception. You know, the festival itself can be your reception. And oh yeah, it was so worth it. I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm doing right there. Not really sure. Okay, that's his wing going that way. Oh, still going, yay. Yeah, the goal is never the destination, it's taking the steps towards it. Yeah, yes, the Muffin Man. Do you know the Muffin Man, Paranor? This is that freebie music from YouTube. It's like, the Muffin Man makes me giggle. Okay. Dragnot can have his almost porno sounding music. We're gonna have the Muffin Man. I'm gonna have to figure out the highlights here too. We'll get there. Hubby suggested that at some point I do a griffin, and I'm gonna have to do that. Paint a griffin on one of these streams. That would be fun. I've drawn griffins before, but I haven't done a full painting of one. Okay. Oh, that paint didn't want to cooperate at that point. There we go. Do you know the Muffin Man? I'm gonna be laughing about that now. Alright. The Muffin Man was a popular guy. You're lucky, Paranor. I can't bake. I'm not joking. I am so not kidding. Hubby bakes. I do most of the cooking because I'm a pretty good cook, but I can't bake to save my life. It used to be, and this is serious, that I'd say I'm gonna bake a cake and both of my kids would scream, "Oh God, Mom, no!" Then there was a time I was the naughty dialysis nurse. I had one patient that was having a birthday, and I decided, you know, once in a while we kind of broke the rules a little bit because it was night shift dialysis. People are there for 8-hour treatments. And so we decided, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna make some brownies up. So I got Ghirardelli fudge brownie mix, which, you know, pretty good stuff. And decided to make up the brownies, and my kids took a photo of the result because I couldn't cut them. So I go and I stick a fork into the brownie because it looked kind of funny. And I picked the entire brownie as a one solid square piece right out of the pan and held it up in the air on the fork. And my kids got a picture of it. And I have that photo somewhere. So I showed the photo to my patient, and he was laughing, and he's like, well, it's the thought that counts, and he was kind of glad he didn't have to try the brownies. Yeah. Yeah, I was naughty. Night Gordo. Yeah, it's like when we had the Vikings trying for the Super Bowl with Brett Favre and everything. We had a Super Bowl party that night, and we did bring in snacks. We got it okayed with the dietitian, and you know, my patients all came to treatments, and a lot of dialysis patients don't, you know, that's a lot of time out of their week and out of their lives, and they get frustrated with it. But mine would come. And everybody got hugged at the door when they came in. I'd greet everyone. I always, you know, tried to smile and make it a good place and a happy place. And, you know, I had a lot of people crying when I finally left because my own health was falling apart. So I got hugged back from everybody when I had my last day working dialysis. And I gave everybody a handmade leather rose. Every patient got one that I made. And it just was hard to say goodbye, but I didn't have a choice. But after that, the dialysis unit, I think they still have only like one patient left now. And I had put in my notice that I was quitting, and I still had my notice. My 2 weeks turned into 3 months because I was trying to find a nurse to replace me. And every one of them I trained in, they're like, well, what's the point of doing this? I was tracking hemoglobins. I had the first successful night shift dialysis in the state of Minnesota that I was in charge of, and I worked closely with doctors and stuff, and it was the first successful program ever in the state. And anyone I tried to train in, they're like, well, this is pointless. This is pointless. One was an LPN that had worked as a PCA in dialysis for years and had just got her RN, and she just didn't want to do any of it. And of course, she didn't get the position, and after I left, it just went downhill from there. They have one patient left. That's it. And I loved it. The only problem I didn't love was that there was 21 patients and 3 of us. That's it. And they wanted to give me 2 more patients, so I'd be up to 23 before they would give me another staff member for 4 hours. And I'm like, what am I doing all this for? Why am I fighting this? And so I had ended up in the hospital, and then I was out of work for a month and a half, and because my doctor's like, no, you're not going back to work. And it just kind of went on like that. And so I had to say enough was enough, but it was really hard. It was kind of like my family there, even newer patients. It was family. But I guess that's that home care nurse in me, because I'm so used to just being part of a family, because you really are. When you're in somebody's home 4 days a week or 5 days a week, you become part of their family. And so I was used to that kind of environment. You should have some back legs back here, shouldn't you, dude? I think what I'm gonna do is get a little bit of a highlight here so I can see where to go on the next stream. Because I think we're hitting the end here. I am running out of steam. But I'm really happy with how he's turning out. I have so much stuff to do for face painting yet and everything, and working tomorrow rearranging my craft room since I can't really go outside and plant. I have to weed too much yet. I don't know if I'm going to get any of my garden plants in this year. I just don't see it happening. But at least I moved craft rooms, so I have a whole bunch of stuff I gotta box up and change around, because eventually we want to do the RV thing and we just have too much stuff. And so I'm going to have furniture I'm going to be selling and stuff like that, and so a lot of work to do. So with the hot heat outside, I already mowed the lawn a couple days ago, so might as well just make productive use of my time. Okay, guys, I think, whoops, let's spin him back that way. I think we're going to call it. Let's see, Gardner, yeah, definitely Paranor. It was undercutting for profit. That's all it was. Gardner says Med-Surg does that all the time. They discharge, send nurses home, then started admitting a crazy amount of people with not enough nurses left. Yeah. And the thing is that they wanted to do this all the time, though, to maximize their profit. And I couldn't keep up. And then I had these two PCAs who were just mean. I mean, they got in fights with patients. They were piling on me a lot, because when I came back from being out of work for a month and a half, I still wasn't recovering fast enough. And I just couldn't move, you know. I had a massive MRSA infection and pneumonia, and yeah, it was bad. And so they were piling on me a lot. And then the one patient there, nobody did their job while I was gone. And so she ended up with an infection that started from a burn on her pinky from a popcorn bag, and it went all the way up her arm, past her graft, into her heart. And so when I came back, and I had to send her to the hospital twice, and got in an argument with ER nurses and all sorts of stuff, and the lady died a few days later after I returned. And, you know, we're not supposed to have favorite patients, but she actually was. And we got along famously, and we actually wanted to record music together and stuff. And, yeah, that's when I really reevaluated what I was doing myself. It's like, am I happy here? And the wind was so out of my sails, you know, and I felt miserable. And then I had these people that I'm working with who are supposed to be my team and my partners, and they were just bucking me constantly because they wanted me out of there. And one of their friends, I had gotten fired because she was just awful and doing inappropriate stuff. And so they blamed me, and they piled on me constantly, and it's like, what am I doing this for? And I went back to home care full time, and I've been happy since. But I still kind of miss the dialysis. That was my dream job, was to work dialysis. I loved it. I couldn't do hospital anymore. I graduated from nursing school in 1979, and things were different back then. We had board members made of doctors, not administrators for profit. Yeah, yeah. I graduated in 96 from the RN program, and I started out, my first stint was at the psych hospital in Anoka, Minnesota, the old haunted hospital, which, yes, it is an old haunted hospital. It was built in the 1800s. The place is frightening. Um, but anyway, that was the first year that they were kicking psych patients out early, due to cost. And they were switching to more outpatient therapies, even on patients who should have been inpatient, and doing all these things just for the money aspect of it. And I was in the middle of witnessing the first round of this happening, and I'm like, this isn't going to end well. And it hasn't ended well. We have such a tremendous problem with uh, homeless with mental health issues and everything else. It's just unbelievable. And there's no way to force these people to come in, not really, to force them to come in to get treatment, get their meds, and all of that. There's no incentive for it. Yeah. Good portion of them end up in homeless shelters. Yeah, that's exactly it. And it shouldn't be like that, but we're in a profit driven healthcare economy in this country, and it's just sad. Most with mental illnesses don't trust people enough because of how they're treated in culture. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's exactly it. And yeah, a lot of medical people, it's the same thing. Yeah, that they don't treat people with mental health issues very well. And what gets me is, I say to anybody that anyone who claims that they're perfectly sane is lying to you, because everybody's got problems. That town in Belgium. Oh God, yeah, I never experienced that. Gardner volunteered at a homeless shelter, and they didn't want families, only people with mental illnesses, because they got more state money, like harvesting them for money. Yeah, I forgot where I'd seen actually news reports on that. Oh, it wasn't just that, it was rehab centers. John Oliver did a whole thing on that. Oh, Giel, Belgium. Okay, I will take a look at that. Yeah, it was the rehab centers are the same way with the drug abuse. Oh, John Oliver's awesome. But they'll go and they just have them. It's a revolving door, and the people never do get better. They're pretty much just harvesting them for the profit until they're dead, and then they go on to the next person. And I really hate the words healthcare industry being in the same sentence, because that's not right. Healthcare is separate from industry. It should be separate from industry. And I mean, I love being a nurse and I love working healthcare, but there's parts of healthcare that I absolutely despise, and that is the biggest one right there, is that it is for profit. Oh, yeah. The medical industrial complex. I like that. That fits it well. Now, with abortion not allowed to be funded, the replacement workers will be in numbers soon. Yeah. Yeah, I still don't get that one either. Yeah, and I think it's getting, that's what hubby's been saying too, is that it is an oligarchy and it's gonna get worse. It's I don't know where it's going. I guess we're gonna have to see what these next 2 years do. Oh yeah, the free market is a problem, because it's the free market is in the wrong sectors of society. Um, Things like education and healthcare should not be part of the free market. Oh, I hope Mueller does too. I hope he stops this crap. That's just too much. It's got to stop at some point here. And what gets me is um, Dampnut is trying to undo everything that has Obama's name attached to it. It isn't even. I mean, yeah, his friends are making profits big time off of the decisions he's letting get through, but it's also about Obama. It still is. He hated Obama. Yep, the founders warned of political parties. Yep, it's all personal gains. Trump is just a vehicle for making profit. Our government got sold to the highest bidder, and it's like, how do we get it back? That's the thing. That's where I don't know what we're doing. How are we going to get it back into the hands of the people? And I still get into it with people who are into the the libertarians or whatever they are called. It's like they want to go too far the other way. We are partly a socialist society. As soon as you have government roads and things like that, there are factors that are socialist in nature, which is an economic system anyway. Healthcare and education should still be under that to an extent. I don't think education is supposed to be a privilege. It's a right, and we have too many stupid people because of that right not being granted as it should be. Oh, I think we're just more aware of Trump now that he doesn't have a censor. Before that, you think about it, most of the time we saw him on TV all the time. And he he did have censors because he had the FCC. Well, now the FCC isn't telling him, or telling his producers are not telling him all of this stuff. They're not putting reins on him. So he's doing what he wants. And then on top of it, he's used to being the head of this company and having nobody tell him no. And so now he's trying to mold the American government into what he wants of it. And he's got the free reign kind of to do so. So I'm really hoping Mueller does put the kibosh to it, because it's got to stop. Our country's reputation with other countries is going to be just down the toilet. Yeah, with Russia behind him, and oh man, and I don't get it. I just don't get the man at all. And then this thing lately of blaming the victims of school shootings, saying they're the problem. Like this last one last week with the teenage boy that killed the girl, and his own father is blaming the girl. And this is the mentality that's starting to be perpetuated in the United States, that it's serious victim blaming. And yeah, I don't know. I hope this is just growing pains and we're going to get out of it. Yeah, I agree. Incels just another hateful group beginning with the I, like ISIS does. Thank you, Gardner. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be doing the underside next time. But I still got the integrity. If you look at the color of the rock itself, I did manage, even though I used paint, I still managed to match the color of the rock with the paint. Because this is all covered in paint now. And it still fits. I did what I was hoping to do. Yeah, postmodernism has done a lot of damage to the culture and institutions in North America. He does have a smog feel, similar to the early Hobbit books. Yeah, he does. That was just fun. I still love that I managed to get the rock color in there. That's awesome. I go to get some skeins of wool tomorrow, and I can finish wrapping the armature to do work on Cecil's sister again. And then I have a red dragon I'm going to be making too. That's going to be holding a chili pepper in his claws. But Cecil, uh, my my little dragon back there, um, yeah, Gardner. He's made out of wool, and he's getting a sister who's already sold, pretty much. I'm gonna be getting about 700-800 for her when she's done, from somebody else at the Wisconsin Renaissance Festival. So, and if she doesn't sell, she doesn't sell. She'll get sold at some point. And Cecil's not getting sold. He's my first one. And he's got armature problems, but he still travels with and stuff. And yeah, I decided I'm the mother of dragons. I love making dragons. I love painting them and stuff, and I'm just going to keep going with that. I am the real mother of dragons. It's just, that's what I enjoy doing. And I think the tiger looks confused that it's got a dragon sitting on it. Yeah. Got to work on the bottles tomorrow some more and get ready to fire one of the small ones in the oven and see how that holds up. And then do some other, I have to do some decoration on the bride's bottle yet. And then I found out that the spouts actually work on some wine bottles. So this one's ours. So probably going to paint this one for resell. I'll have to take some bleach water or something and clean the inside of this out. But that'll be for resell, and I found where I can get the bottles fairly cheap and stuff, so I'll be doing those for our craft tables. The paint is really awesome. It just came out so smooth, and it's just really great paint. I absolutely love it. So yeah, that's where I'm going with that. And I got more jewelry I have to make. And yeah. And Gardner, this chainmail piece is my husband's work right here. This is aluminum and neoprene. And then this was, until we figured out he didn't blow his wrists. That was when he was making my wedding dress. That was probably MS back then. But this was the pattern. This is a Byzantine fabric. And this was the exact pattern that the overdress for my wedding was supposed to be done. It ended up being the altar cloth instead. I forgot what weave this is called, but yeah, I'm wearing his stuff today. We do a lot of chainmail around here. He's very good at it. It just some days it's easier for him to make than others, depending on how his hands are working and stuff. So, but the dress didn't get finished in part because we needed about 200,000 more aluminum rings. And I'd hate to see it if we did it in steel because the fabric itself that we had just for the altar was really heavy. So, yeah, it was, we got a bunch of chainmail in stock though, so it's trying to figure out where we're going to be selling. I know we're doing Twin Cities Pagan Pride in September, and we have a Methodist Church craft sale after that. That's kind of turning into a family event because his family is very involved with their church, so we just come and I volunteer to face paint. And then we're looking at probably another craft sale in the fall. We wanted to do the farmer's market, but there's just no way. It's too busy. So, and then of course I got my Etsy store and stuff, but right now it's trying to get bills caught up, get my car fixed, get him a new computer, all of that. Because we do enjoy gaming together. That's one of our big things. But right now, when his tiny little laptop can't handle it, we met playing Dungeons and Dragons in college, So that was back in 94. And we had both married other people, and, we still talked and kept in touch and stuff, and then ended up with our subsequent divorces, which had nothing to do with each other, although both of our spouses thought it had that we had something to do with each other on that, and we didn't. But then during my divorce, we got together for a while, and then we broke up. And then even after we broke up, we were still calling each other every day and talking to each other. And we were dating other people just to try dating other people. But we still were constantly on the phone together. And it's like finally we're going, what are we doing? It was, it was just kind of like the meeting of the minds who weren't really thinking clearly. And so I turn around and I'm like, said to my kids, well, what would you guys say if I told you that Troy and I are an item? And then they're like, well, it's about time. Yeah. We got there. Yeah. My mother-in-law says that we had to have the relationships we did just to prepare for our relationship together. And it's every relationship has its up and downs, but our family motto is to get out of my head, because we're constantly in each other's head. Not only just finishing sentences, we come up with the same stuff at the same time, and it's just all the time. It's like we're just so enmeshed with each other that I can't imagine things being changed at all. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. We had some great memories at the start, and I think in the long term we'll end with some great memories, I hope. And then on to the next life. Yes, I'm one of those reincarnation people, but not the same thing as the New Agers. I can't stand New Age. But yeah, that's where it is. But I'm going to call it. I have to get some food and take my diabetes medication and all of that fun stuff and spend time with hubby. I think we've got some more dungeon running tonight. I'm not kidding. Yeah, other people, it's like, yeah, well, you've got your gamer and then your gamer wife. Sometimes it's almost like he's the gamer husband, But anyway, yeah, that's it. love you guys. You have a fantastic night. Paranor, it was awesome seeing you again. I tried to get a hold of you on Discord, but I don't know if the message got through or not. I'm planning on getting back in Minecraft a little bit. It's just Mabinogi, right now they're doing all these events, and it's like you have to be logged in constantly. And then it has a memory leak with Windows 10, and Minecraft has a memory leak with Windows 10. I just surrender. I swear. But I want to get back into streaming, but like I said, I'm working 6 days a week right now, so it's really, really hard for me to even have time for Minecraft at this point. So I haven't forgotten. I have a city to build on your server, so. And Gardner, thank you for popping in. Thank you to anybody else who was watching. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed our little guy here. This rock is so nicely heavy, and it's like, yeah, he's an egg. And yeah, he's his own lazy Susan. All right. Take care, everybody. Blessed be. Have a fantastic night. Come on. Camera. Come on, camera. There we go.